Okay, so get this right. We're diving deep into like secrets and superpowers and all this crazy stuff. And guess what? It's all happening in Sunvail, Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fail.
I know, right? You're probably thinking Sunvail. That's where my aunt lives. All they got there is that pie contest every year.
Oh yeah, the annual Bake Off. Right.
Exactly. But hold on tight, because
Yeah.
what if I told you that underneath that whole like apple pie and picket fences vibe, Sunvale is actually like a hotbed for metahuman activity, government conspiracies, all
Yeah.
that crazy stuff.
See, that's what I love about this author, Robert J. Crane. He takes this like totally normal, almost boring town, Sunvale, Arizona, and he turns it into this like this breeding ground for the extraordinary.
Yeah.
He makes you wonder, like, what if this was real? What if my town, the one I think I know, is actually hiding all these incredible secrets?
Okay, so we got to talk about Ava, right?
Mhm.
She's our main girl in all of this. She's just your average high school student dealing with the usual stuff, like, bad breakup,
Hmm.
not getting along with her dad.
Mm-hmm.
But then things get really intense really fast. There's this like crazy incident at her school, something that really shakes everyone up, you know, especially Ava.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is all happening right before her metahuman abilities decide to show up.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine you're already dealing with like a life-changing event and then boom, suddenly you're like super strong, you can move faster than you ever thought possible.
It's like pick a struggle, Ava.
Right. It's a recipe for disaster, especially for a teenager.
Right. Totally. And as if things couldn't get any weirder, Sunvale gets hit with this string of murders.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
And we're not talking about some random burglaries gone wrong. These are cold-blooded, like, targeted attacks on people passing through town. Nobody knows who's next. It's got everyone on edge.
And what's really strange is that the local police, the people you'd think would be handling this whole thing, they're practically sidelined.
Sideline.
Yeah, instead, you got the FBI rolling in all hush-hush like they're dealing with something way above their pay grade.
Oh, so it's got to be serious then.
Oh, it gets even better. It turns out these FBI agents, they're not your typical G-men, These guys have a few surprises of their own, like they've got metahuman abilities too. Talk about a sign that something bigger's going on.
Okay, so we've got murder, mystery, the feds are involved, and did I mention superpowers?
Sunvale is not so sunny anymore.
Not even a little bit. And poor Ava, she's thrown right into the thick of it, forced to deal with not just her own powers, which, by the way, are still totally out of control, but also this huge mystery that's like way bigger than anyone could have imagined. What would you do, right? If you were in her shoes, I mean, would you try to ignore all the weirdness, pretend it's not happening?
Or would you feel that, that pull, that need to uncover the truth no matter the cost?
Because Ava, she's definitely not ignoring it, like not even a little bit. She's diving headfirst into this whole thing, and as we'll see, that decision takes her down a rabbit hole of like lies, hidden agendas, and some seriously dangerous people. We're talking about a whole other side of Sunvale, the side most people never see.
A side that makes you question everything and everyone, even the people you think you can trust.
So Ava's trying to make sense of it all, right? Murders, the FBI acting sus, her own powers going haywire. But the deeper she digs, the more she starts to see that Sunvale isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Not at all. It's like that saying, right? Things are not always what they seem.
Truth. And it's not just like random townspeople whispering secrets. We're talking about the people in charge, the ones who are supposed to keep everyone safe, like the sheriff, the school principal. They're all acting super shady.
Exactly, and that's what Crane does so well in Listening to Fear. He takes those familiar figures, those pillars of the community, and he turns them into question marks.
It makes you wonder, like, who can you actually trust when the people who are supposed to be protecting you are the ones keeping secrets?
It's like, even in a place like Sunvale where everyone knows your name, you can't always trust your neighbors.
Right. And it's not just a case of small-town gossip either. These are big, life-altering secrets they're sitting on. Take the sheriff, for instance. He's, like, laser-focused on Ava, convinced she's somehow behind the murders, even though her alibi checks out. But then a fire breaks out at that shady tech company, Heiseneth, and he girly reacts. I mean, come on.
Right. You'd think a fire at a place like that, especially with all the other weird stuff happening, would be a major red flag.
Exactly. And the principals know better. He's more worried about keeping the school's reputation clean than actually figuring out what happened during that incident. It's like they're more interested in maintaining the illusion of normalcy than actually dealing with the chaos that's bubbling under the surface.
And remember those weird emotional breakdowns that were happening all over town? The ones that even affected Ava's dad?
Yeah, those were freaky. People just losing it for no reason.
Well, it turns out those weren't random at all. They're connected to a powerful empath, another metahuman who can, like, manipulate and amplify emotions. Fear, especially.
Okay, hold up. So now we've got secret government agents, a town on edge, and a metahuman who can basically weaponize feelings.
Welcome to Sunvail. It's like a magnet for the strange and dangerous.
So how does Ava fit into all of this?
Well, her search for answers, it leads her to a pretty creaky location, the local funeral home.
A funeral home?
Really?
Yeah. It's a brilliant move by Crane, actually. He takes this place of mourning, of final goodbyes, and he turns it into a space of suspense and revelation.
So what happens at the funeral home? Well, remember that mysterious figure who saved Ava from Dr. Wilcox? The one who seems to be, like, watching over her.
Oh yeah, the invisible guardian angel.
Exactly. Well, he seems to be guiding Ava, even in this strange and somber setting. And what she uncovers there changes everything.
Okay, you got to give it to me straight. What does she find?
Ava, she witnesses a secret meeting between the FBI agents and, get this, the funeral director himself.
No way. The funeral director's in on it too.
Oh, yeah. And it becomes crystal clear that these FBI agents aren't just investigating the murders, they're metahumans themselves. They were sent to Sunvail for a specific reason, something to do with all the metahuman activity.
Talk about a twist. So it's like a Sunvail is some kind of battleground for a war nobody sees coming.
And Ava, she stumbles right into the middle of it.
So what happens next?
Well, Ava tries to make sense of it all, but the FBI agents, they realize she's seen too much. They try to capture her right there in the funeral home.
Oh, man. Talk about a bad place to get caught.
Right. But Ava, she manages to escape, using her powers to outrun them. She finds herself back out in the open, but what she encounters there is even more terrifying.
What could be scarier than being hunted by rogue FBI agents with superpowers?
Try facing an angry mob, your friends and neighbors convinced you're the enemy.
You're kidding, right? They turn on her.
Oh, yeah. It turns out that while Ava was busy uncovering the truth at the funeral home, someone was busy spreading lies about her throughout Sunvail. Lies designed to make her look dangerous, to turn the entire town against her. And the worst part, it's working.
Who would do something like that?
Well, all signs point to Sentry, that shadowy organization we mentioned earlier, remember? The one obsessed with controlling or eliminating metahumans.
Oh, right. So they're behind all of this.
It seems so. They've been using the empath's powers to manipulate people's emotions, amplifying their fear and turning them against each other. And it seems their ultimate goal is to get to the Marquez family.
The family with the superpowered kids. Why them?
Because Sentry sees them as a threat, a liability. They want them neutralized.
No, it all circles back. The murders, the emotional manipulation, the FBI. It's all part of Sentry's plan.
And Ava. She's caught in the crosshairs. Now she has to choose. Disappear, protect herself, knowing the Marquez family will face Sentry's wrath, or stand and fight.
So Ava, she decides, right, she's not going to run. She's going to fight back, protect the Marquez family. And let me tell you, this final showdown, it's like something straight out of a movie.
Oh, it's intense. The whole thing goes down at the Marquez homestead, this like isolated place out in the Arizona desert.
So we're talking about like a full-on showdown.
Full on. You got Sentry with their high-tech weapons and their trained agents thinking they've got the upper hand.
Right, because they've got all the fancy tech and stuff.
Exactly. But they totally underestimated the Marquez family. See, their power, it's not just about, super strength or speed. It's connected to nature, to the desert itself.
So it's like the desert's on their side.
Exactly. We're talking earth elementals rising from the sand, lightning storms out of nowhere. It's wild. But it's not just like a physical fight either. Remember the empath?
Oh, right. Sentry's secret weapon.
Exactly. That empath, they're messing with everyone's heads, cranking up the fear, making it almost impossible for Ava to focus, to control her powers.
Man, Ava's got her work cut out for her.
No kidding. But this is where you really see Ava step up. She's still just a kid thrown into this impossible situation, but she finds the strength to keep going, to push past her fear and do what needs to be done.
So she beats the empath.
It's a close call, believe me. Crane doesn't hold back on the intensity. There's this one moment, this scene where Ava, she's so overwhelmed by the empath, by all the chaos, that she almost loses control completely.
Like her powers go haywire.
Totally. She unleashes this massive wave of telekinetic energy. It's a miracle nobody's killed. It's a good reminder that having these powers, it's not a game. There are serious consequences.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So what happens? How does it all end?
Well, in the end, good triumphs, but it's not easy. Century, they're a tough enemy to beat, and it takes everything Ava and the Marquez family have to defeat them.
So the Marquez family, they're safe.
They are, but there are losses, sacrifices made along the way. And even though Century's threat is gone, for now, Ava's left to deal with the aftermath.
Yeah, that's always the thing with these kinds of stories, right? You win the battle, but the war's never truly over.
Exactly. And that's what makes listening to Fear so powerful, so thought-provoking. It doesn't shy away from the tough questions. Like, what happens next? What about Ava? She's not just a normal teenager anymore. How does she go back to that after everything she's been through?
It's a lot to think about, that's for sure. So, folks, if you're looking for a story that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about heroes, about power, about the secrets hidden in plain sight, then you need to check out Listening to Fear.
Trust us, this is one deep dive you won't regret.
Until next time, keep your eyes peeled and your minds open. You never know what might be lurking just beneath the surface.
At the end of this podcast, please share your thoughts on the book, and if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.